Everyday Superpower, where we talk body language, relationships, game, everything in between. Right, today I got some game for you. This is everlasting game. This is evergreen game right about here, yeah. This information you're about to learn, not many people know. And you need to utilize this to influence your life from here on in. I've spoken on this so much, but I'm going to do a video dedicated to it because I've not taken the time really since years back to really emphasize on this particular element of body language. So this is going to be about exposing the chest, the stomach, hell, even the genitalia, not to a degree where you're flashing people, but you're not going to be creating obstacle and obstruction through this particular area of your body. I mean, a little more obstruction regarding what I'm going to say as far as the genitalia, because, there needs to be some sort of coverage, right? But as far as the rest is concerned, we're going to talk about it and its importance. So this body language or this utilization, this cluster of behavior you're going to use to influence your the way people look at you, how you feel about yourself. And this is all going to work on a subconscious basis, all right? When you start to really emphasize this, you're going to receive people be more open to you, more receptive to you and what you have to say. You're going to be attracting more women. You're going to be influencing more men and so on and so forth, yeah? This is important. So when we expose this part of our body, okay, our stomach, chest, call it our neck as well. If you were to be bodybuilding and looking at it as a particular chain of muscles, we would call it, what would we call it? The anterior chain, I think it's entitled, because we've got the posterior chain, and I believe this would be the anterior chain, the front side of the body. When we keep this open and expose this to the world, it signifies confidence first and foremost, and I'll break down as to why. It signifies receptiveness and openness to communication, and considering the mind and the body work alongside each other, right? You will be able to observe better, you'll be able to learn better, you will be able to be more generally intelligent because you will be able to absorb more information better and with ease. You'll be able to communicate with women better, most definitely, because you'll be able to read the signs better, because you'll be influencing your own mind through how you are exposing yourself, right? So let's break it down. I've said this 20,000 times, blah, blah, blah. We used to walk on all fours, then we started to walk upright. When we started to walk upright, we exposed this part of our body, which initially was low to the ground and concealed. When we started to walk upright, we were like, whoa, we need to keep this shit protected purely because all our internal organs are housed here. Somebody could just poke us, and kill us, right? So for survival mechanism, we cover this up. Through survival mechanism, other people cover it up. That's why one of the most common and understood body language is just like, oh, he's crossed his arms, he must be uncomfortable, he must be defensive. Defensive quite literally, right? Because you are defending that particular part of yourself, yeah? So we know this. And we're getting into this. So when you consistently keep this open, even more so, look how comfortable and confident I am. I'm just resting myself like this. Naturally, in a position of threat, or what your brain would perceive as threat, we wouldn't really be doing this. Because it'd be too... What's the word I'm looking for? You would, to put a long story short, you'd be taking up too much space. You'd be too visible, okay? And your brain will be in a sort of frightened mode, sort of non-congruent with how you're behaving. That's not to say you should react in that manner, but maybe you'll, just close yourself off a little bit. Because if you're not willing to engage with what you don't want to engage with, you're not going to, non-verbally go out of your way to go against your thoughts, right? If it makes sense to you at that moment in time, you're not going to do that. So, when we go for a job interview, we don't close up, we open up. When we engage with people, we don't close up, we open up. When we go on a date, we remove anything from the table that obstructs this. People are going to look at you and see in you an honesty and the truth that they haven't seen from the person who is covering that self up from time to time. Because you are clearly, first and foremost, fearless of the ideas, of the conversation, of the person before you. So you're a confident person, which is incredibly attractive. Okay? Second to that, You're to be trusted because you are putting yourself and your vulnerability on show to that person. Could it be considered submissive? Depends how you perceive it. Submissive in the sense of a cat who would lie on its back and expose its stomach to you. It doesn't want to be touched there, but it shows it's comfortable with you. So it is an act of submission in a way. But to the counter opposite, you could say it was an act of dominance, because you're not frightened and you're not having to allow your flight and fight and freezing responses to engage in a coverage of your vital organs. Non-verbally, we can't really control most of the way our body communicates to the world because it runs outside of our conscious awareness, right? But this, I can tell you first and foremost, is a learnt behavior. You can keep this part of your body exposed forever once you clock onto it, because it's a big movement and you understand very fast when you're covering yourself up. And people say, oh, I'm just covering myself up because I'm cold. Yeah, you're cold in relation to the freeze response because it all adds together. So your blood is that circulates all around your body and keeps you warm, is re-navigating to your extremities, to your legs, so you can run away in flight of the fear you feel. That's why you're cold. That's why you're covering yourself. It all has a knock-on effect. Now, let me continue, because I'm not optimal. I do what I do because I don't need to showcase who I am. Alright, I've just got a message. This is about information. It's not about who I am and identity and so forth. I prefer to speak openly and comfortably by covering myself up the way I do, right? But I would be better and optimized to getting a message along to you if I unzip this and I was exposing more of my central side. Okay? So I actually might just get a black sort of shirt and don that and have this unzipped for the next one, because it makes sense. Yeah? So when you go to your job interview, you might be buttoned up with your jacket. Unbutton your jacket. Even better, take your jacket off. Show the world who you are. That is a suit of armour you're wearing, blocking off the way you communicate with the world. So you can't communicate efficiently, nor can you, be perceived as an efficient person, because ding, 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 ideas are bouncing off of you. Whereas the more vulnerable you stand, the more your brain is going to take in the message, because it has to. Because you are vulnerable, and to survive you need to absorb more of that message. And people will perceive you differently and less of a threat. This is some deep game. This is some deep, deep, deep game. Expose yourself on a consistent basis when it comes to the chest, when it comes to the torso. And I said initially, as far as the genitalia is concerned, right? Clearly, I don't mean literally, but what I do mean is that when you conceal yourself, so there's particular behaviours such as the fig leaf pose, and I used to do this regular without being aware of this information. My girlfriend at the time said, you look like you're standing at a funeral all the time. Because I'd take my hands and I'd conceal my genitals, alright? I thought it was a cool position to be. It's not. It's not. Because such as we're covering this, we're covering our genitalia in a defensive manner. Primates, chimpanzees, where do they attack first? They attack your fingertips, they attack your genital area. So it's hardwired within us to conceal that particular area in what we may perceive as a threat. Whether it be an idea, whether it be a person, whether it be how we're feeling generally. Our primitive brain has triggered and we have to conceal and cover ourselves. So when we don't do that and when we action against that, we come across more comfortable and confident. And the person walking down the street who observes us from first glance doesn't know the theoretics of body language. No way do they do that. But they still see us, and through the patterns they have, absorbed throughout life, they can see us for what we are. And subconsciously they think, oh, he's being defensive, oh, he's covering himself up, oh, he's uncomfortable. Even though they consciously might not see that. That's game. That's game. And I'm delivering this once a day. Every day. Twice a day. Every day. So click like and subscribe, yeah? Sign up. Let's keep on moving. I've got 2 links down in the description of the video. One will take you through to the catalogue of body language. Over 220, 230, 240 videos on YouTube of me explaining how to read people through their subconscious behaviour. Second to that, the Patreon. Attraction cues, repulsion cues. I'll teach you how to navigate the dating market and have effective, efficient dates and engage with women in the proper manner. You won't learn that game anywhere else. I'm signing out. Peace.